they don't want to take fights. I mean, I understand, but at the end of the day, are you not the best? Why the you keep saying you're the best? If you're not gonna fight everybody that claims that they're the best,
It'd be Canelo Alvarez.
I think if anybody has a opportunity, I mean, has a chance to beat Canelo, I think it's Terence Crawford. His IQ is on another level. He's a great fighter and he's strong.
David Benavidez has taken serious jabs at Canelo Alvarez, accusing him of repeatedly ducking him and also claiming that Canelo's potential fight with Terence Crawford would end in massive failure. Addressing his ongoing plans on an episode of the Pound for Pound podcast with Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo, David Benavidez revealed that his upcoming fight with Callum Smith will solidify his status as WBO champion, adding to his WBA and WBC titles. He stated that Canelo Alvarez could fight him after that, but questioned why Canelo continues to avoid him. Benavidez expressed confusion over Canelo calling him an easy fight while still refusing the bout.
Interim title. So then that's what we're thinking about, making that fight happen here in the US, and then that's also gonna put me one step closer to fight these guys because I have the WBA interim, I'm the world champion at WBC, and then after I beat Callum Smith, I'll have the WBO. So then if I'm
so you'll be mandatory. You'll be mandatories again
by three associations: WBA, WBC, and WBO. So then if they don't fight me after that, then there's not really much to say. You know what I mean? I don't want to say people are ducking me, but at the end of the day, if you're getting the most you ever made of your whole career, and supposedly I'm an easy fighter you can come beat, then why are you doing it?
Discussing the issue, Caleb Plant, considered one of the top contenders in the WBO division, also shared his thoughts. He noted that despite Canelo naming a high price to face David Benavidez, his reluctance likely comes from the perceived risk of fighting someone with Benavidez's size and aggressive style.
I mean, I think, from what I've read, I don't know the details. I'm not following them too closely, but it's like, he's named his price for what he wants to fight him. So I'm sure he understands the risk, and like you said, he knows he's a bigger boy. So that's really all I got to say on that.
The debate over Canelo Alvarez ducking David Benavidez has also caught the attention of Floyd Mayweather, who shared his personal opinion on the matter. He stated that he clearly sees Canelo avoiding a fight with Benavidez and expressed his own interest in seeing the two face off. Mayweather added that Canelo's continued avoidance is only fueling his frustration.
If it was up to me, like we keep on saying, we want to see Benavidez. Canelo, hell of a fighter, but my personal opinion, he's ducking Benavidez. That's just my personal opinion, and I'm allowed to speak my mind. That's just what it is. We want to see Benavidez. Let's make it happen.
On the other hand, Canelo Alvarez has defended his decision not to fight David Benavidez by citing a desire to preserve Mexican unity. He also criticized Benavidez's father for speaking negatively about him, saying it showed a lack of respect. Additionally, Canelo dismissed Benavidez's accomplishments, claiming he has done little in his career and that his only notable win was against Anthony Dirrell.
When I say I don't want to fight Mexican, it's because I represent Mexico, and that's why. But I don't care. I fight anybody, and I fight all my entire life anybody. What do you think? I don't want to fight with one Mexico or Benavidez. But look, I hear his dad talking a lot of shit. But look, he's accomplished nothing. One single champion, Anthony Dirrell. Please, don't disrespect myself. Please, guys.
Responding to Canelo's comments, Jose Benavidez Sr. took a personal jab at him, questioning whether Canelo has ever faced a truly legitimate opponent in his career. He accused Canelo of making constant excuses, sometimes citing $200 million offers, other times making dismissive remarks about David Benavidez. He went on to call Canelo a clown who is clearly avoiding a fight with his son.
I saw it, he's right, David has not accomplished anything. Berlanga has accomplished a lot. Gildren accomplished a lot. Munguia accomplished a lot. They accomplished more than David has, right? That's why he fought them, but he doesn't want to give David an opportunity because he's not a champion. He hasn't accomplished anything. He wants $200 million. Of course, when you know that somebody's gonna up, and beat you up bad, I mean, you will put any excuse in the world, Why? If he's so dumb, and he hasn't accomplished nothing, why? Easy money, right? Payday. You know, so, I mean, whatever Canelo says, you know, he's just a clown in my mind, you know.
Meanwhile, David Benavidez has also taken shots at Canelo Alvarez's persona, calling him a cheater who claims to be the king, but isn't. He referred to Canelo as a prima donna who constantly brags about his career while actively avoiding real fights. Benavidez accused him of holding his titles hostage and standing in the way of true competition.
How now, David, especially particularly in your position, the fact that, you know, let's call it pink elephant in the room. Canelo, he doesn't want to fight you.
Yeah, bro, it's a little hard, you know, because obviously this is a fight that everybody wants to see. It's the biggest fight in boxing, in my opinion, right now. But it sucks when a guy, as Canelo says, that he's the king, he can do whatever he wants. He's basically holding the belt hostage.
King, yeah, of course, king or prima donna.
In a recent segment on the Pound for Pound podcast, Henry Cejudo brought up an interview with Terence Crawford, in which Crawford praised David Benavidez for his exceptional fighting attribute. Benavidez acknowledged the praise, emphasizing that his combination of offense and defense is among the best. He then took aim at Canelo Alvarez, criticizing him for avoiding the fight while claiming to be the best. Benavidez argued that, as an officially ranked contender in the same weight class, he deserves the shot, and Canelo's refusal to face him puts his legacy in question.
From, you know, Terence Crawford, you know, and we had mentioned, it's like, hey man, what do you think of David Benavidez? And it's almost like, oh shit, it's kind of like that. It just puts things into perspective.
Yeah,
the dude's big, the dude's fast, the dude's strong, the dude's, you know, he's complimenting you. He's like, nah man, I don't want to fight that.
There's a lot of things I could do and a lot of things that people don't give me credit for, especially my defense this last fight. Really good.
Yeah.
But I've always been good at my defense, always, this whole time. Defense, offense, I could do everything. So when I see people, they don't want to take fights, I mean, I understand, but at the end of the day, are you not the best? Or why the fuck do you keep saying you're the best? If you're not going to fight everybody that claims that they're the best and they're in your same weight class and it's actually ranked, I don't know what else to say.
In the same session, David also shared his prediction for a potential Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight. He expressed strong belief in Crawford's ability, calling him the only fighter who could realistically beat Canelo. While he acknowledged that the weight difference is a concern, Benavidez noted that Crawford has shown he can adjust, referencing his past performances at 154. He added that he wouldn't be surprised if Crawford wins, but also wouldn't be shocked if he loses.
Could Terence Crawford, does he have an opportunity to beat Canelo Alvarez?
I think if anybody has a opportunity, I mean, has a chance to beat Canelo, I think it's Terence Crawford. His IQ is on another level. He's a great fighter and he's strong. It's just that it's a lot of weight, you know what I mean? And he didn't have a hard time at 154, but he wasn't like, you know what I mean? The other guy was getting him with some good punches, you know what I mean? So he felt the power at 154. So imagine you go up to 160, 160. Madrimov is a good fighter. And then, you know, you're fighting a strong fighter like Canelo. So, I mean, I feel like, it's like I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Terence Crawford wins, but I wouldn't be surprised if he loses either.
While allegations of Canelo Alvarez ducking David Benavidez persist, Canelo has defended his stance by pointing to Benavidez's behavior. He claimed that Benavidez had not approached the fight with respect, which influenced his decision. Canelo also emphasized that at this stage in his career, he has earned the right to choose who he wants to fight.
At this point, I fight with everybody, with every champion, with all the best out there, and when somebody approach you like that and call you out like that, you don't need to give them money. So, and like I say, I can do whatever I want now, and just I don't like that way he approached for taking the fight.
Meanwhile, shockingly, David Benavidez has insisted that he holds respect for Canelo Alvarez, claiming that his comments have been misrepresented and manipulated on social media. He emphasized that he is one of the top fighters in the division, and Canelo's continued avoidance is simply ridiculous. Benavidez also criticized the sanctioning bodies for allowing Canelo to handpick his opponents instead of enforcing mandatory defenses.
I don't really like to bash somebody because at the end of the day, I give respect to Canelo. He's a great fighter.
Yeah.
He's one of the best Mexican fighters of all time.
But wanting to fight him, David, is not bashing him.
Yeah.
That's not bashing him.
But that's what I'm saying. They spin the narrative on Instagram. Right. If I say something, they say this or that. But I only want what I earned.
Right.
And I'm entitled to it. From what the WBC told me, they say you win the title limiter, we'll give you a title shot. You win the WBC interim title, we'll give you a title shot. I've been in this position for 3 years. So just because Canelo, he could do what he wants, as he says,
right.
He's not gonna fight the top competition. And he's holding all those belts hostage, bro. And it's not like, you got other great fighters too. You got me and David Morrell's there. Yeah. How is it fair that these sanctioning bodies let him pick and choose who he wants to fight?
Furthermore, David also questioned Canelo Alvarez's fans, asking why they aren't eager to see what could be one of the best fights in boxing history. He stressed that his only goal is to give fans the matchup they truly want, highlighting that a fight between him and Canelo would be one of the biggest and most exciting in the sport.
And then the Canelo fans too that be talking shit, bro, like, do you guys not want to see the best fights?
Right.
Like, I don't understand. I'm just trying to make the best fights happen. And that's it. At the end of the day, I just want to give the fans what they want to see.
Yeah.
Joining the criticism, Edgar Berlanga also voiced his thoughts on the situation. He called out Canelo Alvarez for what he described as foolish behavior, noting that he had seen Canelo acknowledge David Benavidez's elite athleticism in a past interview. Berlanga pointed out that both fighters are in the same weight class, yet Canelo continues to avoid the matchup, something he believes clearly shows Canelo is afraid of facing Benavidez.
And you soft. Deep down inside in that little heart, you soft. I just seen a thing he said, an interview. I was like, nah, this dude's crazy. He just put out an interview saying that he's a good fighter, he's a dangerous fighter, he's big, he comes over 20 pounds. I'm like, yo, bro, you just made yourself look like the biggest in boxing. Cause now I'm thinking about it, right? I'm like, wait, I'm like, nah, he's probably not even scared of him. But now, after seeing an interview that he did the other day, and he said, no, he's a great fighter, he's dangerous, he's big, he comes over 20, like, he's the same weight as you at 168. So what does it matter if y'all win on Friday at 168? What does it matter? He jumps up 15, 20 pounds. You jump up the same weight, bro.
Edgar went further, calling Canelo Alvarez's behavior one of the dumbest he's seen. He took a personal jab at Canelo, using harsh language and making it clear that in his view, Canelo is not acting wisely and is simply trying to avoid a real challenge from David Benavidez.
So what's the difference here? It's now he's super.
While discussing Canelo Alvarez, David Benavidez admitted he's grown tired of talking about him, believing that Canelo is unlikely to ever give him the opportunity to fight. Henry Cejudo suggested the fight could still happen, possibly after a Benavidez versus Bivol. On the other hand, Kamaru Usman offered his perspective, acknowledging that Canelo has had major fights on his resume and deserves credit for his accomplishments.
That was my play. But honestly, I don't know about Canelo. I'm tired of talking about Canelo. I don't think he's ever going to give me an opportunity. He's never going to give me the fight.
I don't think so either. Unless Bivol gives you an opportunity to scrap him, beats him, and then you become the
and then there's just
Mexican.
inevitable.
Right,
it's
so
inevitable.
let me play the devil's advocate, because I hear what you're saying, Henry. But if I'm already, if I'm a aged champion and not to take it in their way, still one of the greatest to do it.
He's not that old,
and he's got a lot of fights, body-wise, miles of boxing-wise.
I don't really mean that in the first 40 fights for Mexico.
But
Kamaru also suggested that if a fight between Dimitri Bivol and David Benavidez were to happen, and Benavidez managed to beat Bivol, who handed Canelo one of his few losses, it might finally entice Canelo to accept the fight. However, Benavidez quickly dismissed that idea, saying he doesn't believe Canelo would take the fight under any circumstances. Henry Cejudo added that if Canelo truly sees himself as a real competitor, he might reconsider, but both he and Benavidez agreed that such a move from Canelo seems unlikely.
And I just lost to this one guy, and I'm saying this guy's too big for me, and then he goes and beats that guy that I lost to. You think that's gonna entice me to want to take that fight?
You know what's funny
if
too?
If he's a real competitor,
yeah. If he's a real, so
you know what's funny too?
In another interview, David Benavidez reflected on his journey, noting that he has worked hard to rise through the ranks and has successfully achieved his dream of becoming a top contender in his division. He expressed disappointment over not getting the opportunity to face Canelo Alvarez, but revealed that he has now moved up to the 175-pound weight class, taking his ambitions even further. Benavidez stated that he is now focused on capturing all 4 belts, with or without a fight against Canelo.
So, you know, basically started off with a dream. You know, I've been having this dream and this vision since I started boxing at 2 years old. I'm 28 now, so 26 years of my life I've been boxing. Been dedicated for this whole time, and now that I'm coming up through the ranks, you know, I've been able to assert myself at the top of the boxing, and you know, just making my case that, you know, I am the best in the world and I'm taking on all comers, you know. Unfortunately, we didn't get an opportunity with Canelo at 168, but now, you know, we're number one ranked at 175, and now we're eyeing the possibility of fighting for all 4 titles, you know. So, you know, undisputed is next. So right now, you know, I've just been coming through the ranks, you know, been keeping my head down, been making a lot of noise, and, you know, just trying to be the best version of myself that I could possibly be.
Reflecting on how the dynamics of boxing have changed, David pointed out that most fighters today, including Canelo, are focused on the business side of the sport. He noted that Canelo is set to fight Terence Crawford, who is smaller in weight, but emphasized that it can't be called an easy fight since Crawford is a great fighter. Benavidez suggested that Canelo should prioritize fighting opponents within his own weight class rather than focusing mainly on business opportunities.
All these fighters, I feel like they see everything as a business move, which it wasn't like that back then. But, you know, I feel like just the dynamic of boxing is changing, you know. But like I said, Canelo, in my opinion, the best fight that he could make would be with me. Yeah. Because it'd be the best fight in boxing, you know, would give the fans, you know, a lot of fireworks with that fight. But, you know, Canelo, he wanted to go a different route. You know, he wanted to fight somebody that's coming up from 147 and smaller guy. You know, not to say that it's going to be an easy fight for him, because Terence Crawford is a great fighter. But I mean, I feel like it'd be better for the people if he fought somebody in his own weight.
David pointed out that he has sensed fighters avoiding him for a long time, especially Canelo. This, he said, gives him extra motivation to prove his true worth. He added that this mindset helps him prepare for his upcoming fights with even greater focus and determination.
Well, like I said, if anything, that doesn't derail me. If anything, it gives me more motivation, because now I know that, oh, these people are ducking me for a reason. You know what I mean? Back then, I kind of already had the feeling that, you know, these people weren't publicly ducking me. You know, now it really just shows you how good I am.
Meanwhile, the venue for the Terence Crawford fight with Canelo Alvarez is set for Las Vegas. David Benavidez's promoter, Samson Lukowicz, expressed appreciation for the move and commented that having Benavidez face Canelo would likely result in a knockout. On the topic of Canelo ducking fights, Lukowicz said Canelo isn't afraid, but is simply a savvy businessman making strategic decisions.
Can you imagine Benavidez in front of them? He would knock him out. And this one he doesn't want. So I don't say that he's afraid. I say that he's a good businessman and he make a good decision. He proved it the Cinco de Mayo that anyway it was not Cinco de Mayo. I mean, Cinco de Mayo is now after 12 o'clock. That it was the real fight in Las Vegas. You cannot do this fight in New York on Saudi. Las Vegas is Cinco de Mayo. You have all the Mexicans, and he proved that because it was a full arena, and it was a real fight.
It was somewhat surprising to hear David Benavidez's promoter, Samson, criticize Canelo Alvarez's reported $200 million demand, calling it unjustifiable. He noted that Canelo has already earned more than enough and suggested that these delays are part of a calculated business strategy. Lukowicz also hinted at the possibility of a future Canelo versus Benavidez fight, sharing some revealing details that suggest discussions may still be on the table.
He won the money, he got money now, and probably next September it'll be the final career of him. I don't believe he will go for the next Cinco de Mayo. Monday I will ask for Cinco de Mayo in T-Mobile because it will be for Benavidez.
On the other hand, David Benavidez has remained firm in his belief that Canelo Alvarez is afraid to fight him. He stated that all the excuses being made are simply a reflection of the fear Canelo has deep down.
I think he's getting put into a corner now where he's running out of excuses. He said that the only thing I bring is 25 extra pounds and I'm not worth nothing, but he's asking 200 million and now he's gonna fight me in the same night. It's just stupid, bro. Like, just tell the people you don't want to fight me.
Do you think like his hunger is dissipating? You know,
I don't know. I can't talk to you about what his hunger is or how his training is or how he feels. I can only speak to you about myself, but for me, it looks like fear. It looks like fear, like he's scared of me.
Meanwhile, speaking about the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight, David Benavidez said it's the kind of matchup that needs to be seen to truly understand. He emphasized that it could turn out to be either an easy or a tough fight, but ultimately it's one that must be watched to know how it unfolds.
It's like one of those things that you have to see how, you're gonna have to watch it to see how it plays out. You know, there's so much things that I feel like could happen in that fight, but I don't know, we're just gonna have to see how it plays out. It could be easy, it could be hard, I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see.
And there you have it. Tensions are rising, the drama is real, and the boxing world is watching closely. Will Canelo finally step up and face David Benavidez? Or will this rivalry remain a story of missed opportunities and business over boxing? Let us know what you think in the comments. Who's ducking who, and who comes out on top if this fight ever happens? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any updates on this explosive showdown. Until next time, fight fans, stay sharp, stay tuned, and keep your gloves up.